4 and positive 2? Yeah?
Yeah, and the regular 2.
Okay. So then the y's that you would pick are the ones that have to like correspond with that. So the
Okay.
y, what do you think the y's would have to be if you chose the -4 and the 2?
So it'd be the one in the same column, right? The 9.2,
9.2 and
the 10.4.
10.4. The and you just label them. So like, let's say I would label this x1 and this x2. That means this is the first y value, so this would be y1 and y2.
Okay.
And then use, let's write it in blue, this formula, m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So you plug in the top part and get a number. I think on this one it's a decimal, at least when I did it the first time. Because you have to look at the y's first.
So I got 1.2.
Mm-hmm. So that would be 10.4 minus 9.2, which came out to be 1.2.
And then -2 for the bottom one.
So we're doing, it actually should be 2 minus because of this part, but then there's an extra negative. So it's 2 minus -4. And that actually comes out to be positive
-2, right? Oh, is it?
It would be a positive 2.
Oh, because it's 2 negatives. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then 2 negatives in there. So it would be minus, and then 4, and then make the 4 negative, and then it comes out to positive 6. Does that make sense?
How come when I do it on the calculator, it gives me...
Yeah, let me show you.
It won't let you, huh?
It should. You just have to type it in.
Or it does, let's see.
So you do 2, and then hit the minus button, and then you have to do 4, and then hit the negative button. So
okay.
And then equals, and then it shows. You see 2 minus -4 right below the 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 minus -4 is 6.
6. I got it. Cool.
And then
6.
To see, so this is one of the slopes. I'm just going to divide it in the calculator. 1.2 divided by 6. That equals 0.2. Just to make it simple. And then I'm also going to divide the 1/3 in the calculator, just so I can compare them. So, because Marty's slope, that was 1 divided by 3. 1 divided by 3, which was 0.3 repeating, 0.33333. So this one is bigger.
Oh, okay.
Than this one. So because it's 0.3 repeating, and then this 0.2. So Marty's is bigger, and Marty's was 1/3. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the big thing here was when it doesn't look like this, when it doesn't look like slope-intercept form, like it had something over here, it had something to distribute. Like you know when to distribute when you have some kind of number or fraction on the outside of parentheses. So that you just multiply it to each of the inside things. And then whatever's next to the y, get it over to the other side so that the y is all by itself. That's one way to do it.
Cool.
And if it happens again, I'll show a different way, but we can move on to the next.
All right.
And then the other thing was just using this formula. You choose any x values and y values, or any x values that has to be the corresponding y values that go with it. So if this is x1, this has to be y1. If this is x2, this has to be y2. It couldn't be like choose this 2 and then this regular 10 because they don't match up.
All right.
All right, cool.
see what they do this now.
Well, do you have any ideas?
So, I mean, it'd be just off the simple. It's $7, right? That he was charged per hour.
It was $7 per hour, and he did it for 3 hours. That would be 21, right?
Yeah.
But then it's $3 extra just to rent
For
the
the
skates. So that would end up being 24 total. So it can't be the $7.
Yeah, so it'd have to be the $8 one.
So then if it was $8 per hour, and he went for 3 hours, 8 times 3 would be 24, and then still plus the 3. Do you see in the answers how it's always plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3?
Mm-hmm.
That plus 3 is for renting the skates. Like no matter what, you rent the skates once, and you have to immediately pay $3.
Yeah, so I see what you're saying. So it'd be this 6, because 6 times 3 would be the 18, and then plus 3 would be the 21, right?
Yeah. So
okay, I see.
It doesn't tell you the actual hourly rate, but it says ice skating rink charges an hourly fee. It doesn't tell you what that is, but it does tell you the total. So 6 times the 3 hours is the 18, and then plus the $3 for renting the skates gives you the total of 21. So actually, the slope in this case would be 6, and that also represents the hourly fee. That's usually how it goes. Like if there's something miles per hour, usually that's the slope, or like you get paid dollars per hour or something, some kind of rate. That's what the slope would be. But in this case, it's 6. But yeah, the second one.
Got it. That one was actually simple, but
yeah, that one's not too bad. So there's standard form. I'm trying to remember what standard form is. There's slope intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Point slope form, which is what they give you. I don't think you know what that is, just because.
Is that the one we just did?
Yeah. Well, you can go back and forth between all the different forms. What's standard form? Oh, standard form. The x and the y are on one side. Okay. Let me do this real quick. Oh, I think this one's going to be confusing, but it's the third. Wait, times 4. It's the first one. Let me take a picture. Okay, you're good. All right, so first of all, there's three forms for a line, and so I'm going to say some stuff real quick. There's y equals mx plus b. That is called slope intercept. That one's the easiest one to pick out a slope. You just look at it and see what the slope is. You can look at it and see what the y-intercept is. That's the one we've dealt with before. Then there is y minus y1. This gets confusing for a lot of people. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Oops. This one's called point slope form, where these, the red and the red things, those are actually going to be numbers. So these are numbers. But one's an x value, one's a y value. That's what I'm like here, minus 1 and minus 12. That corresponds to the minus y1 and the minus x1. They're not going to be variables, they're going to be numbers, but that's just the way that we write it as the form. Just like this is going to be most likely a fraction, and this is either going to be plus a number or minus a number. Same idea here. These are going to be numbers for point slope form. And then the last one is standard form, and that looks like a, well, I guess I would do it like this, a times x plus b times y equals c, where all three of a, b, and c, these are numbers. And this is standard form. So those are the three forms. And you can always go back and forth to each form. I think I'm just going to show you, excuse me, I'm going to show you how to get from this one to this one, just because that's what this problem is.
All right.
But those are the three forms, and we'll see. It's kind of similar to what I did right here, except for you're getting almost everything over to one side. But
Okay.
we'll see. So here we have y minus 1 equals 1/4 x minus 12. So already we have point slope form, but we want standard form. So that means I want my x and y on the left side of my equal sign. So I want my x and y on this side, and I want just a single number on the other side. So that's what I'm going for right now.
Okay.
So x and y on the left side, and then a single number on the other. So the first thing I'm going to do, I can't just move the 12 over because it's in these parentheses, and we have to get rid of the parentheses first, and we do that by distributing. So that would be 1/4 x. So y minus 1, I didn't do anything with that. 1/4 x, because that's multiplying. And then minus 1/4 times 12. Actually, it's times a negative 12. So I'm going to put a negative there. So times, and then you can put that over 1. So that would be negative 12 over 4, which is just negative 3 if you divide that. So far, so good?
Yeah.
So this would be minus 3. So that's where the negative 3 is. We just use it as a minus. So far, okay, that's good. I want this, I want the x over to the other side. I want to move this all over here. And I want to move this all over to the other side because I want my x and my y on the left side of the equal sign. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll subtract 1 over 4x because it's a positive right now. So I want to do the opposite, and that'll move it over. And then minus 1 over 4x. There aren't any like terms. This is an x, this is a y, and this is just a number. So I can't do anything with those. All I can do, I can't combine them. All I can do is just write them down like y minus 1 minus 1/4 x, and then equals. So that goes away, and then we just have that minus 3, which now we can just write negative 3. So now I have my y and x on the correct side, but I still have a number there, and I don't want a number there. For standard form, it's just number times x plus, and this could be a minus, so number times x plus, or if it turns out, maybe it's minus, a number times y equals just the number. Here, this 1 is making it so that it's not standard form just yet. So what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to rewrite this actually. Y minus 1 minus 1/4 x equals negative 3. So then, again, I want to move this minus 1 over to the other side. So I do the opposite, plus 1, and that moves it over, plus 1. Both of these are regular numbers. This doesn't have an x on it. This doesn't have a y on it. They both are just regular numbers, so I can combine them. So that means I'll have y, that goes away, but I still have the minus 1/4 x, so minus 1/4 x equals, and then negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. And we're almost done. So we have that, but none of our answers have any fractions. We have a fraction here. So the only way, is like the way to get rid of this fraction is to multiply everything in this equation, this term, and this term. Multiply everything by 4. This is a trick. Like anytime you have fractions in an equation, you can multiply by the bottom number of the fraction to everything, and then the fraction will go away. And it, like if you, as long as you're multiplying every single term, it's a trick that will always work. So, like if you, here, this is what I mean by every single term. If you had 2 plus 1 equals 3. For sure, 2 plus 1 is 3. This is a true equation. This works, right? Does this make sense? Just, I'm making this up. I can choose any number that I want. Let's say, let's do 4 like we're doing. As long as I do 4 times everything, I do it to this term, and to this term. Whatever I end up with, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12. This is still true. It still works out. 8 plus 4 is equal to 12. The only time it wouldn't work out is if I did something like this, where I didn't multiply by 4 for every single term. I missed out on the plus 1 term. Because here, it would be 8 plus 1 equals 12. Of course, that doesn't work. That's 9 equals 12, and that's wrong. So the trick, if you're getting rid of any fraction, you look at the bottom number, and you multiply every single term by that number. I'm going to say times 4, and then times 4. If you forget to do it to every single term, then you'll get this situation and you'll get a wrong answer. So you have to do it to every single term. But it's just a trick to get rid of a fraction. And what happens is you get a 4y, 4y, negative 1/4, that's this part, times 4. You can put it over 1, that's just negative 4 over 4, that's just negative 1. Because 4 divided by 4 is 1, so that would be a negative 1. So we do negative 1x, and then equals negative 8. But it's still not any of the answers. So the last thing, because I said it was this one, none of these are negative, but the last thing that you can do, it's the same exact trick. You can multiply everything by a negative 1, and that changes the sign. As long as you're doing every single number by it, then it's a valid trick to do. So here, this one's a complicated one. I don't know. I'm hoping that we don't get too many like this, but we get
that one is pretty.
Negative.
It's a lot to do.
Yeah, negative 4y plus x equals positive 8. And then since we have plus, we can switch these around. X minus 4y equals 8. And that's the answer there. X minus 4y equals 8. The main thing is these three things. Slope-intercept form, which is the simplest, easiest form. Point-slope form. I think that one probably will come up a lot. And then standard form that rarely comes up. That's what this problem was. But then also slope, just the formula for a slope. So this is slope formula. That's y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. That's the slope formula.
Slope formula.
Yeah, so if you're given 2 points or more than 2 points, you can pick 2, and then you can calculate the slope. But yeah. Shall we try the next one?
Yeah, let's see what they give us.
Okay. You know, so one way to do this is, you see the 0, 2?
Yeah.
That's a point that has an x coordinate and a y coordinate. Do you know which one's the x?
Yeah, the first one's 0.
Okay, and then the y would be 2. What you could do is just check to see if the first answer is correct. You can plug in the x 0 and then see what you get out, and that will be what the y is supposed to be. Does that make sense for what I'm saying?
So I would like the first answer, or just do the equation like the.
So you're just testing it out. So the line CD passes through the points 0, 2 and 4, 6. Which equation represents line CD? If a point like 0, 2, those are the coordinates for a point. Like if you graphed it, that would be a point. If a point lands on a line, then the x, when you plug in the x, you should get out that y value. You should get out a y value of positive 2 if it lands on the line. If you don't get out a positive 2 when you plug in a 0, then 0, 2 doesn't land on that line, which means the answer y equals 2x minus 2. That wouldn't be the correct equation for the line. So like here, for the first answer, we're going to check to see if 0, comma 2, like if you were to imagine the picture, you're going to check to see if 0, comma 2 lands on this line, the first answer, the line y equals 2x minus 2. If you plug in the 0 for the x and just work on the right side of the equation, it would be 2 times 0, which is 0, and then 0 minus 2, which is negative 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So 2 times 0, which would be 0, and then 0 minus 2.
And that would be negative 2.
Yeah.
So we plugged in the 0 because of that 0, comma 2. We wanted the answer to end up being a positive 2, but we got a negative 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means 0, comma 2, that point, isn't on the line y equals x minus 2.
Okay.
So that means that's not the answer. The answer, like the equation that works, is one where you plug in a 0 and you get out a positive 2, but then you have to check it with the other point. You plug in a 4 and then see what you get out, and it should be a 6. So let's try the second answer. If you plug in a 0, what's the y value that you get out when you just work on the right side?
0 and would be 2 for the second one, right?
Okay, so we plugged in a 0, and then we got y equals 2, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we wanted, 0, comma 2. Now we have to try it. So that means 0, comma 2, that point, is on the line y equals 2x plus 2. Like if you were to graph it, that line would go through that point. But now we have to also check the other point. If you plug in a 4, what do you get out? Plug in a 4 for the x.
So I get 8 first.
And then
it'd be a 10.
Yeah, so that means that second point, 4, comma 6.
Does not work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. So that means it's not the answer. It has to work for both because the line is supposed to pass through both 0, comma 2 and 4, comma 6. So then you try
so
it
it would be the third answer, right? Because then you got 0. You get a positive 2, and then you do it with the 4 again.
And then you get 6.
And then you get 6, yeah.
Yes. So whenever you're plugging in an x and seeing if it gives you the correct y value, that's the same thing as checking to see if that point is on the line that you're like plugging it into, because these are equations of lines. So yeah, so that means 0, comma 2 is on the line y equals x plus 2, and it also means 4, comma 6 is on that line y equals x plus 2.
Oh, okay. I didn't get it.
Hopefully we get another one like that. I feel like the next time
you plug in the 0, you have to get that 2.
Yeah.
For the y intercept.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the 4 and the 6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And if you don't, it means it's not the line that goes through that point, or that point doesn't land on that line. Okay.
So this one's going like backwards, huh?
Yeah. Trying to think of the easiest.
There's no way
to do this.
To do like the equation y equals 5x dash 3 to get that other one of those answers, right?
No. Like not in a way that's like not super complicated. I think what you would do is like write down the first answer y minus 13
Mm-hmm.
equals 5 parentheses x minus 2. We'll take that and we'll try. I'm going to walk you through changing it into the y equals mx plus b form, the slope intercept form. So then we'll change it and then we'll see if we end up with y equals 5x minus 3.
All right.
So,
all right, so the first thing is I'll distribute the 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So 5 times x is just going to be just 5x, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to be negative 2.
Is you do the 5 times the negative 2. You have to do it to both of them.
That's, yeah.
So it'll be 5x and then
negative 10.
Yeah, minus 10. And then on the right side of the equation, you can just rewrite it. Y equals or y minus 13 equals.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last.
And now, how do I get the 5x?
Well, see, do you see?
What?
Do you see in the question where it says y equals 5x minus 3?
Yeah.
We're trying
so
to.
The 5x stays, right?
Yeah, we're trying to make it look like that. So we just need to move that minus 13. We need to move that over to the other side by doing the opposite. So you see how it's. Did you write down
the 13?
Yeah, plus 13 to both sides.
Those exit out.
Mm-hmm.
Plus.
So it'll be negative 10 plus 13.
Plus 13 equals 3.
Yeah, and it's a positive 3. So
yeah.
So you can now write 5x plus 3. And that's on the right side. And then y is all by itself on the left side.
But that's not the right answer.
It's not the right answer because it's plus 3. And we wanted minus 3. So then we got to try on the next one.
Second. All right.
So the first step is to distribute the 5. So you get the 5x, and then
5x, and then 5 times 2, regular 10.
So 5x plus 10 on one side, and then
plus 13.
And then you do the opposite.
So now I'll do a negative. Well, yeah, because it's plus, right? So I'll do a minus 13. Those cross out. So it'll be negative 3.
And that's what we wanted, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So then it's y, x, negative 3.
And that's
it. The second one.
Yep.
Okay, that's not too bad, actually.
Yeah. Going from...
I think it's going to get more when I get to, like, you have to... or a fraction or something.
Yeah, it'll get more complicated with that, but we'll see. On this one, it's basically 2 steps. You distribute, and then get the y all by itself, and then it'll be in the correct form, the y equals mx plus b form.
All right, so that is...
I think this one will be a complicated one as well. Let's see. It's not... Here, let me... Yeah, I'm going to have to write it down, and we'll take a picture. Is that all right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. The answer is C. And let me take a picture. Okay. Okay. We are going to use this right here. This one. So, yeah, we're going to use this one. So I'm going to say, let's see. And then okay. So we're going to use this formula, or this form, where these are going to be some numbers from the problem that we're writing down. First, I want to say that eventually we're going to get it into this form so that we can figure out what B is, because that's what it's asking. It says, what's the value of B? So eventually, we're going to make it look like this. Okay. But right now, since they give us the M, they give us this part. So that's already taken care of. And they give us 2 points that are on the line, AB. AB passes through this, and it passes through this. It doesn't matter which one we use. I think I'm going to use this ordered pair at this point, just because they're both positive numbers. But it doesn't matter. We could use these, and it would give us the same answer. But I'm going to say, I chose this one. I'm saying it doesn't matter because the point or the line goes through both of these points. But I'm choosing this one. So which one is the X and which one is the Y for this?
The X is the 12 and the Y is the 3.
All right. So you know how I said these are numbers, this and this, they're numbers? That's what these are going to be. So x1 because it's the x value, and then the 3 is going to be y1. So when I write this down, instead of x1, I'm going to write down 12. Instead of y1, I'm going to write down 3. Instead of m, I'm going to write down -1/6. Once I do that, it's exactly like the last problem that we just did, where, well, I guess I didn't write it down. But once I switch out this, switch out this, and switch out this, then all you do is distribute and move stuff over so that it looks like this. The problem is we have the fraction there, so I'll show you how to deal with that. So, I'll just write down y minus, so that's just the first part, y minus, and then figure out what y1 is. That's the 3, because it's the y value of that point. So I'll say -3 equals -1/6, because that's just what the slope is. They give it to us. And then parentheses x minus, because that's what this part is. Parentheses x minus. And then x1 is 12. -12. All right, so we're here. What we did last time was we distributed whatever number was in front, distributed, and then we did the opposite to this number to move it over. So I'm going to work on the distributing part. So let's see if I have some room. Whoop. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll take the 1/6 times x, or sorry, negative 1/6 times x. So this will still be y minus 3. I'm just going to copy that down. Negative 1/6 x, you just write them right next to each other. And then we have negative 1/6 times negative 12. So I'm going to write that on the side. Negative 1/6 times negative 12. I put the 12 over 1 just to make it a fraction because I'm multiplying. And then do straight across the top. Negative 1 times negative 12 is positive 12. And then 6 times 1 is 6. And then 12 divided by 6 is 2. So that comes out nicely to a regular number.
Oh, nice.
And it's positive, so I'm going to say plus 2. And then the last thing, so that was distributing. And that's how I got this part. I copied this part down. The last thing is to move this number over so that I can get the y equals mx plus b. So I'll just move that over by doing the opposite. So plus 3, and that moves it over. I'll do the plus 3. These are like terms because I don't have an x here. I don't have like an x there or a y or anything. So they're both just numbers, so I can add them together. That goes away. Y equals negative 1 over 6x plus 5. So now it looks like this. We have y equals m, which they told us was negative 1/6. That's what we have. And then plus b, we have plus 5, so the b is just 5.
Got it.
So this is the key step when there's a fraction. You just take this number and put it over 1. And then I just put the negative in the top. And you can always do that. You put the negative in the top and then multiply. Negative 1 times negative 12 is positive 12. 6 times 1 is 6. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see this next one.
Shit.
Oh. Well, let me try and coach you through this one.
Okay. So
Or-
write out the equation.
Actually, do you see how it says the line passes through negative 5, negative 1, and 10, negative 7?
Yeah, I can choose either one, right? And then
Well, you can, like what we did.
so if I put the 5, my negative 5, or let's say the negative, or the regular 10 where the x is.
Yeah, you could, but so they kind of give you. So the problem that we just did, we had to put in the y1 and the x1. They
Yeah.
actually did that step for you. You see, it's how it says y plus 7 equals negative 2 over 5 x minus 10.
Yeah.
They already put in the 10. That's from the 10 from the point,
Oh, okay,
the ordered
yeah.
pair. And then it was y minus y1, but it's minus negative 7. So when you do a minus a negative, that's why it changes to plus 7. So they already did that step for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, on the right side, that answer, right? So y plus 7, that means that
They did.
already did that.
Yeah. So you can go from there and then
So I just got to get the 7 negative over there to the
Well, you got to distribute first.
Oh, okay, I got to do the whole equation. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do some of the same steps. I'm just gonna walk you through it, and then we'll see if we can get it.
Okay.
So first, you distribute the negative 2/5 to both the x and to the minus
All right.
10, and let me know what you get.
All right, so I'm gonna do the same step that you did. So I'll do the -2 on top
Mm-hmm.
versus -10, and then 5 on the bottom.
And then you can put a 1 on the bottom of the -10.
The 5, right? Okay, yeah, on the other side.
Yeah.
So that'd be 20, right? Positive.
Positive 20 on the top.
20. 5 times 1 would be 5. And then we could just divide.
Mm-hmm.
Would be equals 4, right?
Mm-hmm. So if we
Okay.
rewrote everything, it would be y plus 7 equals what on the other side?
X4, right? Because or it wouldn't it be negative 2/5 still?
Yeah, negative 2/5
X.
x.
And then what is it? -4.
Well, you did
Or
the
turn positive.
yeah, it turned positive, so it would be plus 4.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so now I do this. Go for it.
What were you about to say?
Oh, I thought I was going to try to do the -7, right?
Yes, do that.
Okay. That cancels that out. -7 plus 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or 4 plus -7, I guess.
Yep. Those are the same.
Equals -3.
Yep. So we have y equals negative 2/5 x minus 3. Is that what you have?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you remember what I said? How to get rid of the fraction?
Yeah, we got to multiply the 5 through the whole.
Okay,
thing,
so do that and then tell me what you get after that, and I'll check you.
Okay. So the 5y, it's gonna be 5y,
Uh-huh.
and then let me do this one. -25 x, or did I do that wrong?
I think that one's wrong.
Well, I got to do it. Okay, never mind.
You got to put the 1 underneath the 5. So it'll be,
Got it.
yeah.
2/5, and then so it'll be I try to do it on the calculator, so -10,
Mm-hmm.
and then 5 would be -2, right?
Okay, so then what do you get?
So then it'd be y
Or 5y.
equals. Oh yeah, 5y equals -2, and then I got to do the last one, which is -3.
Yeah, it's a negative 2x, though, right? Negative 2x.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
And then what's the last number?
It's -15.
Okay, perfect. Now they're asking for this in standard form. And standard form means the x and the y are on the left side of the equal sign. So we almost have it.
Oh, okay.
Do you see that negative 2x?
Yeah.
How do you bring it over to the other side? How do you move it over to the other side of the equation?
I would have to. It'd be positive 2, right?
Mm-hmm. So plus 2x moved to the other side.
To the y.
Yeah, and
Side?
to the y side. And you can't combine them because one's an x and one's a y, so you just have to write it out. Like sideways.
Oh, so it'll just be 5y plus 2x
Mm-hmm.
equals negative 15.
Okay, which answer then?
The x always goes first.
Yeah, for standard form. So when it's plus, you can just switch them around.
Okay. Okay. So it'd be the C.
Yep. There you go.
Right. It seems like a lot, but you just gotta.
Yeah,
do
it's
it,
just step by step. That one, I think that one wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That.
You try to do whatever you think, and then I'm gonna try also, because I think you could probably figure this out without like.
Yeah,
just
try
by
to figure out
trying
the
stuff.
cost
Yeah.
of the topping, right? So it's the 22.75.
That's what I got. How did you do it?
At first, I just got the 350 and I divided by 2, got the 175.
And then you times it by 5?
And then I just added. Then I times it by 5, and then I added to the 14 bucks.
Yep. That's exactly what I did.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah. Okay. Same steps as what we did 2 problems ago, except for you're getting the y all by itself. Like we've done this type of problem before.
All right.
You don't need like the 8,4 and the 0,2. They already put in the 8 and the 4, so like they took care of those steps for you. So you just start from distributing.
All right, so I'll do 1, 4. That's a negative 8, right?
Correct.
It would just be a negative 8, right?
You gotta times it by the 1/4. 1/4. So it'd be the 1/4 times the negative
so it'd
8.
be negative 8 over 4, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll do that one to see what I did. Negative 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be y negative 4 equals 1, 4, x negative 2.
Mm-hmm. And then you do one more thing.
Do the plus 4. That zeroes that out. Plus 4. Just be 2.
Mm-hmm.
So y equals 1, 4, x 2. What the hell did I do wrong?
Wait, plus 2, right?
Yeah, plus
y equals 1/4 x plus 2, which you didn't do anything wrong.
And then that's the equation. Oh, okay. Well, I looked at the top and thought it was, but that's
Oh, I see.
the
Yeah.
equation that gave us.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, these ain't too bad now.
Okay, so this one, this is one of the ones where you can plug in the x value and then see if you get out the right y value. Like, I would use the -8 and the 11. You could use either one, but the other one is 7/2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I wrote this out, it'd be y equals -5/8. 8 plus 6.
Yeah, times the -8 and then plus the 6 and then see what you get.
Okay. So the -8 would be instead of the -5/8. In that, like the first answer, right?
Well, it would be -5/8 times -8, and then so you do the -5/8,
and that would still.
Well, you do that part first. So the -5/8 times the -8, and you put it over 1, and you times, and then you divide, and then it replaces the -5/8x because you plugged in the x, and so whatever number you get, then you add 6 to it.
So 5, 10, 40, and it's going to be positive over 8. So it'd be 5, right?
Yeah, positive 5.
So now it's y equals 5x plus 6.
No more x because you replaced the x with the -8.
Oh, okay.
So 5 plus 6. Now you can add those together.
So y equals 11.
Yeah, and that's what you wanted, right?
And that's the -8. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You do have to check both of them. When we're plugging it in, you do have to check both. Because it could go through one point, but not the other.
All right.
Well,
so this one I'm going to have to get a fraction.
Well, so you'll probably just get a decimal, and then you can change the 7/2 into a decimal, and then see if it's the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I could just divide 7/2.
Yeah, to get that decimal.
It's 3.5.
So let's see what happens. I'm going to try it. You plug in the 4, so it'll be -5/8 times a 4/1. And then whatever you get for that, then you plus 6. So
-20. So I got -2.5.
Me too. So it's -2.5. The x is gone because you plugged in that 4.
6.
Plus 6.
3.5, yeah.
And then 7 divided by 2's
3.5, yeah.
Yep. So that one does work.
Cool.
Let's see. Sweet.
100%.
Yeah, some of it, like... Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. Oh, no, I said I think tomorrow that my teacher comes back, so she'll be able to unlock that test because she still hasn't unlocked it.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Special linear relationships. I think maybe that might be like parallel and perpendicular lines.
Yeah.
I think this might not be bad. I think if you want to go through it, I think we could. Can I show you something real quick though?
Yeah.
All right. So this is a guess. It said special line relationships. Two
That's
lines.
linear, yeah.
Oh yeah, special linear relationships. So like, let me do something like this. So if we have a graph, let x and y, and say we have a line and then another line, where those would be parallel. Parallel lines have the same slope. So if the slope here, m, if the slope is like 2/3 for this line, then I automatically know then the m for this line, the slope for this line, has to also be 2/3. They have to be the same slope if the lines are parallel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like maybe it would say y equals, like the equation of this line would be something like y equals 2/3 x, because that's the slope, 2/3, plus 0.5. I don't know, I'm making this up. And the equation for this line would be y equals 2/3 x minus 2. These numbers are different, but that's only because they cross the y-axis at a different spot. So of course the y-intercept, the b part, those would have to be different. But since they're parallel, they have the same exact slope. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it goes along with like all three of these forms. Where is it? Did I erase it? So that's y equals mx plus b form, slope-intercept form. You can tell the slope just by looking at it. Same with point-slope form. You can tell just by looking at it. This one, we have to convert this probably into this form, and then we'd be able to tell the slope. But parallel lines, they're going to have the same slope as each other. So that's one thing. That's for parallel. Then there are perpendicular lines. So lines that are at a right angle to each other. So if I had like something like this and something like this, where they're at a right angle, these lines are perpendicular. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. And all that means is you take one slope, so like let's say the slope here, if m equals +1/3, opposite means opposite sign, so this is a +3, or sorry, a +1/3. So the opposite of positive is negative, so this would be a negative. And then reciprocal just means flip this over. So -3/1. So opposite, reciprocal. Opposite means opposite sign. Reciprocal means flip it over. So it's just flip this over. So 1 over 3, you flip it over. That's 3 over 1. This is positive, so this one has to be negative. And then they would also still have different y-intercepts if we wrote out the equation. I think is my guess at what they're going to be getting at. But parallel lines have the same slope, and perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Do you want to just try one and let's see?
Yeah, let's see what they do.
Okay. Okay, that's completely different.
Yeah, I don't know.
The force of gravity on an object varies directly with its mass. The constant of variation due to gravity is 32.2 feet per second squared, which equation represents F. I think it's C. When it says varies directly, that means it's some number times another number. So like if the force of gravity on an object varies directly with its mass, then the force equals some number times the mass. So when I looked at the answers, the first answer is 16.1 times the mass. Hello?
Here?
Hello? It stopped.
Yeah, I lost. Yeah, you said when it says varies directly and then it cut it off.
Oh, okay. So varies directly, that means you're multiplying two things. So if it says the force of gravity on an object varies directly with its mass, that means some number times the mass. So some number times the mass. So I was looking at the first answer and the third answer because it's a number times the mass. And then same with the third answer. It's a number times the mass. Varies directly means that. It's some number, some decimal maybe, some whole number, some fraction, times the mass. Times the other thing. Varies indirectly means divide. So the answers that would work with varying indirectly would be the second answer and the last answer. So varies directly means multiply, and the constant variation due to gravity is 32.2 feet per second squared. Oh, feet per second squared. I still think it's the third one.
32?
Yeah, 32.2 times m.
Let's see what they give us.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
No freaking graph ones.
Yeah. So I think the special relationships is talking about varying directly and varying indirectly, maybe. Okay, well, the sequence below represents Marisa's fine at the library for each day that she has an overdue book. So the first day, she was fined 50 cents. The second day, she was fined 65 cents.
15.
Oh, I see.
So it'll be the A, right?
Well,
Because if the book that is an M day is over.
so that means if you plug in
Oh, well,
1 for N, you should get 50 cents.
It'll be that would be.
You got cut off.
One.
What? So.
Oh, I was gonna say the E, but it would have to keep going, right? The equation represent for years.
Like, I think if you plug in 1 for n, you should get 50. If you plug in 2 for n, you should get 65. If you plug in 3 for n, you should get 80. If you plug in 4 for n, you should get 95.95. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So which one of those does that?
It would be the first one. Well, no, because you wouldn't. You'd get 15 if you did 1.
Yeah.
So it's not. I don't know. It's not the. I don't know.
Well.
So okay. So what you mean? So it would be B, right?
If you plug in 1, you get 50. But if you plug in 2, you don't get 65. You get a dollar.
Yeah.
So it can't be that
and
one.
150.
Yeah, so it can't be that one. So for the third one, if you plug in 1, that would be 0.15 times 1, and then plus 0.35.
You would get 50 cents.
You get 50 cents. Okay, now plug in 2.
And then 2, I see. Yeah. So that's, yeah. And then if you did 3, all right. So that's the one.
Yeah, the third one.
I see what you're saying now. Yeah, I was a little lost there.
Yeah. Okay. Constant of variation, direct variation. So the constant of variation, k times x equals y, or y equals k times x. Okay, which one is the x value? Which one is the y value for the 5,8?
The x is the 5, and then the y would be the.
Yeah, the 8. So
the 8. Yeah.
To check this,
yeah,
you just choose like the first. Check the first k. You take -8 over 5, times it by the x 5, and see if you get the 8.
Oh.
So you're just checking each of the k values, but you're plugging in, or you're doing the k times the 5, and see if it gives you 8. And then do for the second answer, k times the 5, and see if it gives you 8.
That would give me a -8.
It gives you a -8, so that one's not it.
Yeah, so it'd be the last one then.
Yep. Because that will give you the same thing except for a +8, and that's what you want.
Cool.
Oh, this one's... This one's a trippy one. These are called like recursive functions. It means you have to have one answer to be able to get the next answer. So that's why they give you f of 1. You remember that's how you read it. If it's f parentheses 1 for functions, it's f of 1 equals 10.
Okay.
That also means the first term. Like the n is the number of the term. So f of 1 is 10. That means the first term in the list of terms should be 10. So the answer is going to be the last one because the first number is 10.
Just 10.
But that's not here. I want you to let me take a picture because I want to fully explain it because it's not super like crazy. I just want you to see how you do it. Okay, save and exit, and then I'll show you on this one. Okay. All right, so what this means, like f of, let's say, f of 1, that means first term. F of 2, that just means second term. And then so f of like 5, that would just mean the fifth term. So does that make sense?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So whatever number you're plugging in there, that's the number of term it is. So f of 10 would be the 10th term, and so on. And so like here, this would be the first term, this would be the second term, this would be the third term, fourth term, fifth term. So if you wanted to get the fifth term for any of these, you would plug in f of, or you would try to figure out what is f of 5. But we're not going to do it like that. Because they give us the first term. F of 1 is the first term. That's 10. So we already know that that's the answer. But the way that you actually use this, f of n plus 1 equals f of n minus 2. So we actually know only one term. Right now, we only know one term, and it's f of 1, which is 10. So we only know that. So that means if we plugged in a 1 here for n, then we could change this whole thing to 10. Does that make sense? If you switch out the n for a 1, then we could switch out this whole thing for a 10. Okay. But if we switch out the n for a 1 here, we'd also have to switch out the n for a 1 there. So we already know f of 1 equals 10. So that means, I'll do this in 2 steps. F of 1 minus 2, that's the same thing as 10 minus 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now on the left side, we'll deal with that. We swap out the n for a 1, so we get 1 plus 1. F of 1 plus 1, that is f of 2. This is the second term, so f of 2 equals 10 minus 2 is 8. So the second term is 8. And that's what we have. The second term is 8. If you wanted to find the third term, then now we know f of 2, so we can plug in a 2 here and a 2 there. And then we get 2 plus 1 is 3, which will give us the third term, and then go on. We can't, like, I can't do this. I can't do f of, like, say I want to find the 100th term. That means I would plug in a 99. Right? I would plug in a 99 here, and then plus 1 would be 100. And then I plug in a 99 here, minus 2. If I wanted to find the 100th term, I need to know the 99th term in order to get that. Okay. So I can't jump way ahead. I have to get them one by one. So I get the f of 2, so now I can get f of 3. I can get the third term. And once I have the third term, I can get the fourth term. And once I get the fourth term, I can get the fifth term. That's all it means. They give you a starting point, and you use that, and then it tells you the next one. And then you use the one that you just got, and you plug it in, and you get the next one after that. That's all it means.
All right.
I think if you saw another one
More fun.
like that, it would be pretty easy.
Right. Maybe this thing doesn't start freezing.
Oh, it's not gonna go.
Yeah, I think it's gonna freeze. Maybe.
Hmm?
Let's see. No. About the same. No.
Yeah.
So with Cody, do you think I've seen him?
What's that? Hello?
Have you seen Cody?
Oh yeah. So we
You hear
talked.
me?
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. He was talking about at his new job, like he's working. He's making more money.
Mm-hmm.
But he's now working mandatory 6 days a week.
Oh
Um,
shit.
and they're sometimes it's like 12-hour days. And he, you know how he moved over to survival and was like needed to be trained, and he's like, "Fuck, I hate this. Like this sucks." Like,
Yeah, because they didn't train him; they just threw him in there.
yeah, they threw him in there, and he's just like, "Yeah, it looks good," and then it's not good, or he's like, "I don't know if it's good." He said it's
Yeah,
pretty much
he
the
didn't.
same. Like, they're everyone's overworked, and so there's no one like available to like check and make sure he goes through it. And he says there's so many things where he does something and then they have to like tear it down and then redo it because something else was wrong or they did it at the wrong time.
That's,
Um,
that's,
yeah, so like the stress level for him, it's like maybe worse.
yeah, way worse because over there it wasn't a big. I mean, yeah, he just didn't want to put his name on it.
Yeah,
But now you're building military shit, you know.
yeah,
You gotta,
and like I don't know, he's in
that
between
sucks.
like liking it because I mean he's making more money, but he's like, yeah, I can't do this for the rest of my life.
That sucks because I thought it was gonna be like a good opportunity, you know.
Yeah,
Unless he
like I
moves to a different department, you know.
yeah he was saying so like the thing he's not like allowed. I don't know what he's actually working on, but whatever it is, they're not like good at making it yet. They're like still trying to figure it out. He so it's like a new thing. It's a new like
Yeah,
aircraft or whatever. Um, he wants to get switched on to like a project where it's like they're making something that they know how to make. Right now, he's working on something that they don't really know how to do, and so like everything's just lots of overtime, lots of like pushing for a deadline that feels impossible, and uh, so maybe in years when they like have it down with what they're supposed to be doing for something for whatever he's working on, maybe it'll feel better. But right now he's like, yeah, I'm closer and I make more money, but I also have to work 6 days a week.
yeah, and it's mandatory.
Yeah, so
Uh,
it's crazy. But
I was gonna say because he had his dog too. So what the hell, yeah.
yeah,
Now
he's
his
got
dog just
a
there by himself.
yeah. Just walk him in the morning and then just rush back
Go to
and
work.
go walk him again.
That sucks. Well, at least he's making more money.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a trade off for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, let's see. Do you have a guess on how to do this?
I mean, I'm just trying to wait up there. So it's gonna be what is it? A direct variation. That doesn't mean anything, right?
It means like all the answers are direct variation. It's just some number times another number. There's no dividing or anything. So
Oh, okay. So this would just be the rise over run, right?
yeah. So just pick 2 points that fall on the graph perfectly and figure out the rise over run, and then like divide it to simplify it. Like divide it in the calculator and then see which one. Although the scale, you have to pay attention to the like it counts by tens on the total earnings, and it counts by twos on the hours. So
Oh, yeah, you're right. So let's say the 4, right? See the 4 on the bottom,
Yeah.
hours worked. I'd go up to the 30,
mm-hmm.
and then I'd start there, and then I'd go
Perfect.
over 2, but it would be what 4 hours. So
Yeah.
I'd go over 4, and then go up 10, 20, 30.
So the rise would be
And the rise is on top, right?
uh-huh.
4 would be 7.5.
That's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
We
pretty
did
cool.
do something like this like one time.
Yeah,
I
it seems like it
think.
throws random stuff that we've done before about.
Yeah. Huh.
Then it throws some other country.
Yeah. Well, okay. Which 2 answers is it not?
So it's not the tens.
Right. The second answer and the fourth answer, because f of 1, that means the first term.
The first one, yeah.
So the common difference, so that's part of these types of lists of numbers. They're called sequences. The common difference just means how much do you have to, like how much does it take to jump between the numbers? So
Oh, okay, so it'd be B. I mean C.
C, because yeah, it's 10 between
You jump in
each.
10.
Yeah, that's what the common difference
okay.
means.
Yeah, see now these are
Okay, wait. I just want to make sure. So if you start out with 14, f of 1 is 14, f of 2 is 14 plus 10 is 24. Yeah, that works. So when you plug in a number, that's just like the number of the term it is, and then the common difference is how much it jumps by. So it says y is the number of photographs, and y it varies directly with x, the number of pages in the album. So it's some number times x, which is the number of pages. So some number times the pages equals the number of photographs.
okay. Good point. So Y would be the number
I think I see what it's asking for. Uh, so like 3 times what gives you 24? That's what it's trying to get you to figure out. Because the 3 is the x and y is the 24. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And if it varies directly with x, that means some number times the x value. So some number times 3 equals 24. So how do you figure out that number? Do you know? Like what?
Yeah, just divide.
Yeah.
It would be 8, right? For
It
both.
would be 8. Yeah, and it should work on that second one. 8 times 7 is 56. Okay. And x is the number of pages. So if you did 3 pages times 8 photos per page, that's basically what it's saying. Then you get 24 photos total. So 50 pages
50
times 8.
That one works.
That one works. I'm going to just try the other ones. Nope.
That one's off.
That one's off, yeah.
Last one.
Yeah, it's the first one. Not too bad.
Yeah, these ones are.
All right, varies directly.
That's multiplication, right?
Yeah. If the tip varies directly with the number of guests, that means either. Wait, the tip varies directly with the number of guests. I think it would be t equals, which represents the relationship between the tip and the number of guests. I think it would be the. Well, what do you think it would be just from that?
Yeah, it'd be 8.
That's what I think. Does it work with the numbers that they give you? Number of guests times 10 equals the tip. Or sorry, number of guests times 1.8. Do you see what I'm doing? G is the number of guests. Okay. 0.8. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, that's the first one.
All right, here's some.
Oh, I remember this type of question on the last time we looked at this. Direct variation means also that it goes through the origin, the middle of the graph. Yeah.
So like this one.
Yeah. Because remember, direct variation, it's just some number times x. If you were thinking about y equals mx plus b, the b part is 0. Like there is no b part. It's just the mx, or in this case, when they say very directly, they said kx. So it would be that one. There is no plus b part for varying directly. All right, same idea.
Yeah. So this one's 1.
Uh-huh.
Same.
Yeah.
With this one. One more. Let's see what we got. Yeah, this one was easier than
yeah, that was much easier. Sweet.
I don't know why.
All right, what's the next topic?
Shit. This is gonna be the pre-test.
Oh, it's the review thing for.
I'll just do this one and then get off. Yeah.
Oh, this problem. Okay.
Yeah, just so I can save and exit.
Okay, so this one, you know how it says, okay, the depth of snow in hours of snowstorm is represented by the function. This is a little bit different because they put f of 0 equals 2.5.
Yeah.
So it's weird to think about, but it's just the zeroth term, uh, which really
For
just
the
means
one.
the first term. But you're just gonna label it zero, like if you're timing something, the zeroth thing is like where you're starting right when you hit the timer, like right before. There is no time; it's the time zero, but it's the same idea, same exact idea as before. So, which statement describes the sequence of numbers generated by the function? The depth of the snow was zero point 0.8 inches when the storm began. So, when the storm began, that would be at 0 hours. That would be f of 0.
So that one's wrong.
Yeah, when the storm began, it would be f of 0 because that means the storm just started. 0 hours after, that means the storm just started. So
it would have to be C, right?
Yeah, that's
the only one that shows when it started.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Even though
I'll
it
say
was a
that.
different thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the point. It's like when in F1 it would have started at the 2.5.
Yeah.
It would have to be. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if this will be the next one, but she should unlock that test tomorrow. So if you have time, if not, no worries.
Yeah. If not, I'll text you, but I think so.
Yeah, just text me. All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Have a good night. You too.